Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sean, sometimes known as the Beast, and the 600 subscribers competition is doing really well. I think we've got up to maybe 16 entries now, 16, 17, something like that. A couple of the answers to the third question, which is anything you'd like me to show, a couple of the people have said maybe show something that you listen to that's not metal. So it sort of put the idea into my head. To be honest, 99 times out of 100, if I'm putting music on, it'll be metal or of some sort. But there is occasional moments where we sort of just step back a little bit and a bit of a palate cleanser type thing. And these last probably 5 or 6 days have been pretty much a non-metal week for me. We'll get into it why in a little bit. So I thought what I'd do is, I've got 5 records to show that definitely aren't metal, and hopefully there might be something that you've never heard before that you might think, well, actually might be worth giving them a go. So we'll get cracked on and see where we end up. As always, if I look down here, it's because that's where my notes are, because a lot of these bands aren't bands I play regularly. So anyway, we'll get cracked on. So first up is the band, the Descendants. This is Everything Sucks Today from 1996. This is actually their 5th full length out on Epitaph Records. These gentlemen are punk rock type thing from California. This was sort of a comeback album in regards to the fact that the lead singer Milo left the band to become, I think he was studying something like biochemistry or something like that. So they're obviously quite intellectual fellas. The other members of the band then went on to form a group called All. I don't own anything by them. I think they've got 4 full lengths out. I know there's a couple of them just being reissued, so I'll probably pick them up at some point. But yeah, so this was sort of, this heralded Milo back into the fringe, as it was. This is now, back in the day, when I think of hardcore now, I think of bands like Sick of It All, Madball, bands like that. Descendants were sort of classed as a hardcore band, but it had more of a like skater punk edge to it maybe. What you get with this is it's a really good album. All the songs are really catchy, as you'd sort of expect. We get the inner sheet and lyrics on that side and the dudes in the band. Yeah, they're a band I've known for years, and I've only just found that these have been reissued on vinyl, so it was a case of, well, it'd be silly not to pick them up rather than just listening to them on like digitally, because I'm not a big fan of digital music, to be fair. But yeah, so what you get is there's 15 tracks of punk rock with that sort of you say like a skater type edge, but without being, it's not pop punk. It's really good. I mean, every song is just catchy as hell. You get a lot of it's quite a lot of humour in the lyrics. But yeah, it's just an absolute cracking listen. They're a really good band. I believe that they maybe toured last year with I think they did a tour with the Circle Jerks. I'm not sure if it was a UK tour, but if I'd known about it at the time, I'd have definitely gone to see the tour, predominantly for the Descendants. But not that there's anything wrong with the Circle Jerks, good band, but I don't know anything by them. But yeah, so first one is Descendants and Everything Sucks. Now the next band I've been around for absolutely eons. I've got pretty much everything they own. This one was missing from my collection, even though I know it inside out, and I managed to pick it up last week in, no great surprise, Beatdown Records. This is the mighty Toy Dolls, and their, what would it be, their 4th full length Barefaced Cheek. This is out on Radiation Records. Toy Dolls again are a punk band with a massively comedic sort of edge to them. The songs are always like characters out of Coronation Street, or some dude that always wants to cause trouble. They're probably best known for the cover of Nelly the Elephant, which is their one and only hit, which is in of itself is quite a claim to fame. This is on shiny blue vinyl. Obviously it's in a reissue, but yeah, what you get with this is just absolute just fun and frivolity, with a punk rock edge. Musically, these guys are super talented musicians. They do, the film Deliverance has one of the most iconic scenes, is the dueling banjo scene. They do a version of it called Drooling Banjos, and if you haven't heard it, it's absolutely mint. It's so sort of catchy, really good fun, and also really technically precise. Absolutely cracking band. You know, they're one of those, if you're in the mood and you're just feeling a little bit fed up and you want something to cheer up, you can stick any Toy Dolls album on. They're not going to win Ivor Novello for songwriting or anything like that, but if you want a giggle, something that you can tap your toe to, then yeah, just pick any Toy Dolls album. So this is the 4th release, and this is Barefaced Cheek. Came out originally in 1987, something like that. Yeah. This isn't, obviously, this is the 2023 reissue. So, but yeah, something a little bit different. Toy Dolls and Barefaced Cheek. Now, this next album, I knew of the band because of the singer, but I hadn't actually listened to any of it. And it was Chris over at Green Saber that he mentioned it, one of the albums in one of his videos, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll have to give them a listen to it more intently. This is absolutely tremendous. This is the band Tomahawk and their debut album. Originally this came out in 2001. This is a reissue on Ipecac Recordings, which I believe is Mike Patton's record label, but don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. This came out in 2022. Trying to describe this, to stick this in a genre, it's nigh on impossible. This is such a fantastically complex and intriguing, captivating album. Mike Patton's vocals range from spoken word to sort of like crooning ballad type vocals to some absolutely horrendous shrieks and cries. The musicianship is just absolutely, it's second to none. I think, is it one of the guys out of, is it Jesus Mary Chain or something like that? I think that's the name of the band that he plays for. But it's got sort of like an avant-garde type feel to it. This is on a rather awful gold wax. Yeah, it's really, the only thing I would say is Tomahawk are a band that if you go into them willy-nilly and stick it on in the background while you're brushing your hair, you're going to miss out on a lot. It's such a clever album. I think I've got 4 of theirs now, and this is the one I've spent the most time with, obviously with it being the debut. But everything I've heard from them is so clever, and it's difficult, like I say, it's difficult to pigeonhole it in any type of music. I mean, it's got aspects that you could class as rock, I suppose, maybe a little bit of sort of a modern country vibe. There's a lot of experimental stuff. There's some just downright demented stuff. But absolutely fantastic project, and something, like I say, it's something you need to spend time with. It's not an album to put on as background music. Not for me personally, anyway. I think if you do, you're going to miss out on quite a lot. But yeah, so that's Tomahawk, and their debut originally came out in 2001. Now, the next band are a bit of a institution over here in the UK. I remember them back a long time ago, but they never ever interested me. For some reason it was just like, meh, it's not my cup of tea, that. And obviously they were massively popular back in the day. Now I saw, again, Chris from Green Saber showed this, and Johnny Mac had it, and I think it was maybe in his top 3 albums of the year from last year. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to, if I find a copy at a reasonable price, I'll grab a copy. I did listen to it digitally first, and I was like, yeah, it deserves a bit more of my attention. So the album in question is Songs of a Lost World by The Cure. Now again, The Cure are sort of new wave, post-punk type. Again, a little bit like Tomahawk. It's a difficult band to pigeonhole. Not that we should be pigeonholing anything anyway, but this is actually their 14th studio album. I mean, I knew they had a big catalogue and just didn't realise it was that big. This is out on Polydor, came out in 2024. Obviously they're from the UK. Yeah, for me, Robert Smith's voice, he could sing Happy Birthday and make it sound depressing. But it's depressing in a way that's also quite captivating, quite hypnotic at times, quite mesmerising, just on black vinyl. Yeah, it's a really good release, and the standout thing for me on this album, I mean, all the songs are brilliantly crafted, lyrically they're all, you know, he tells his story as you'd expect him to, but the bass sound on this, the tone of the bass guitar throughout is absolutely superb. It's really fat and heavy and thick sounding, and it builds an atmosphere throughout that, when you tie that in with Robert's voice and the lyrical content, it's just an absolutely wonderful listen. Now, if you're feeling fed up and you want something to cheer up, I'll probably say don't put this on. If you're just feeling a little bit morose and feel like sitting in the corner and listening to something that's going to definitely not improve your mood, then just stick it on. It is a really, it's a top-notch record. Now, it's the only thing I own by The Cure. Whether or not I would buy further stuff, I'm not so sure. I know they've got quite, like I said, this is the 14th release. They have got a massive back catalogue, but I would be going in blind. I wouldn't know what's a good album, what's a bad album, you know, if they're all superb. But so, if this is the only thing I ever end up owning by The Cure, I'm more than happy with that, because this is an absolutely wonderful record. So that is Songs of a Lost World even, from 2024. And the last one is, it doesn't really need it, everybody's heard who this lady is, and for me this is an album that is pretty much flawless amongst its peers. This is Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. This is actually her third. For some reason I always thought this was her debut album. It came out in 1995. Yeah, this is on Maverick Records. Alanis is from Canada. Now, reading through, it's classed as alternate rock. I can sort of see where that type of label comes from, but for me what this is a lady who's very good at her craft, whose voice is distinctive and very much angst ridden. you know, it's a far better album than, if you've only heard the singles, then you're missing out. This is an album that, like I say, I would say, of this style of record and this style of artist, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. And again, I don't play it very often, but when I do dig it off the shelf, it gets played, you know, 5, 6, 7 times, pretty much back to back, because you know all the songs, you know all the hits that she had and the success that followed this album. But again, it's just on Black Wax. Yeah, it's something different. It's something really well crafted. It's the only thing I own by her, so I don't know if her latest stuff is on a par with this. I think I've maybe heard the album that follows it, the name, what's it called? No, can't remember the name of it. But again, I wouldn't rush out and buy the rest of her stuff. I saw it cheap somewhere at Record Fair or something, I might pick it up. But for me, if this is the only Alanis LP I end up with in my collection, I don't think there's any better than this one. So like I said, that's Alanis Morissette and the rather popular Jagged Little Pill. So just a quick sort of what I've been listening to since the last video, really, on the non-metal side. The subs are taking care of themselves. Thank you very much to all the new ones. I will be back with normal viewing, and it'll be something horrendously metal and offensive, I would think. If there's any of these that you know or that you're interested in, or if there's anything similar that you think I might be interested, please pop down in the comments and let me know. You know, things like the Cure's discography, which ones I should have maybe contemplate picking up and such like. We've still got another, what will it be, probably 5 weeks for the competition, for the 600 subscribers competition to run. I didn't expect anywhere near as many entries as I've had, actually, and it's also brought along with it quite a few new subscribers, so thanks very much for that. If this is your first time watching me and you think, hey, he seems to chat shit quite well, then please consider giving me another subscribing to the channel, not giving me another one, for God's sake. And so pop down in the comments, talk about any of these, anything that's similar. We will be back. It's going to have to be probably a couple of black metal ones in a row, because there's a load of black metal stuff come in. There's a load of black metal stuff I've picked up in the wild recently. A lot of it's very obscure, and a lot of it hasn't even had a chance to register yet. So I'm going to have to get my ears around it more properly. More properly, that's proper well-spoken English, isn't it? Look after one another. Enjoy whatever music you're listening to. Enjoy whatever genre of music you're listening to. And as always, until next time, cheers!